Hi everyone, it's Angus Campbell here. It's Monday the 19th of April 2021. Well, it's been a little while again, and I think that it's probably been 2 months since my last video on the Fury SS, and in those last 2 months all I've done is probably one stable update. But there's been a few things going on at home which have got in the way to a certain extent, but now tidied up, one of which was finishing work, which sounds like great news, but probably means I'm going to be busier than ever. But anyway, enough of that. We're back now, and where we left off was with respect to the ongoing work on the Fury SS, and what we've done more recently is firstly confirm that we are getting all oil up to the cylinder head, and secondly that there wasn't enough oomph, i.e. cold cranking amps, in a standard battery for a non-electric start version. And so what we've got to do is firstly I want to do an oil circulation test, which is going to be the subject of this video. And to do that we're going to check oil levels, replenish oils, we're going to check tyre pressures, etc. And then we're going to put the rollers, electric rollers, underneath the rear wheel. And I think I've thought of a way of being able to do that so we can suspend the rollers at the rear while the bike is still on the hydraulic lift, because that gives us a platform which enables us to strap it down securely. So that's what we're going to do today, and then following on from that, we've got the battery, a new battery to charge up and install, which is this one, which is effectively T160, but is of the size of battery that was intended for the electric start version of the Fury, and you can see the difference between the two. This is the equivalent of the PUZ5A, and I can't remember what the original Lucas battery was going to be for the electric start version, but it's obviously certainly unobtainable, and there's very little reference to the original one on the net. But I did find one or two references to it, but there's no direct comparison listed anywhere now. So I've gone for the T161, and that's definitely going to be more than enough amp hour stroke cold cranking amps, but it's definitely the right dimensions as well. It just fits in nicely. So there's that to do. And then the final thing is, and I think I mentioned this before, is we've got the exhaust back for the chromas. So that will be effectively the third job in the next series. And then the final thing to tie it up will be attending to the auto advance mechanism, which is the outstanding thing we've got to sort out before we're then in a position to do a first ever start on this. But that's hopefully not going to be in the too far distant future. Now, one of the other things that I've been doing in the meantime is I've been out on the R3 over the weekend. It's been a lovely weekend, and there's a local show that started up again. It's on behalf of charity. Every third Sunday of the month there's a classic vehicle gathering at an industrial park called the Airfield Business Park on the outskirts of Market Harborough. So I attended that on the Rocket 3 and got a bit of interest there. There's more cars than bikes, but there were more bikes this time than there's been before. And also I've been checking over the Lightning as well. I've started this up a few times, just getting into the knack of starting this fairly quickly and reliably, because it is a different technique altogether than the Rocket 3. And we'll definitely come on to another test ride on this to get some miles on it, really, because it's done nothing really with respect to the testing and some of the issues that we had last year. But anyway, that's all on that for now. Let's get on to the Fury SS, and the first thing we've got to do basically is clear the hydraulic bench. We don't want anything loose on there, anything that's going to get damaged, especially the tank and the side panel. They want to be well out of the way. But we'll clear it all down, tidy it all up, and also what I intend to do at the back end is to put something on the floor behind the hydraulic bench there, so it's roughly the same, so we can sit something, the rollers on there at the same sort of level, because the rollers are quite a big bit of kit. So what I have in mind is that, believe it or not, these old steps are about the right depth. So if we lay these down behind here, and then what we can do is sit these rollers on it, the platform, with the rollers underneath the wheel, and I think that should give us enough stability with the bike strapped down on top of that to get a good purchase on the rear tyre and be able to spin the motor. And what we're aiming to do is, the objective is, first of all, we'll remove the cam cover and possibly one of the rocker covers, so we can actually view the oil circulating around there and returning down the cam chain tunnel. And also we'll have the lid off the oil tank and make sure that oil from the bottom of the crankcase is returning back up to the tank as well. So that's the objective of the oil circulation test. Right, so let's get on with it. Stop blithering around and clear this bench off. You can actually see down there that is oil that's dribbled out from the engine from when we put oil in it for me kicking it over and getting it loosened off and checking the oil feed up to the head. So we've got some leaks somewhere. It's taken some time to get there, but we'll need to sort that out. But initially, let's just concentrate on making sure oil's circulating properly, and then we'll see where it's managing to escape. Right, we'll clear the bench down. Right, there we go. Bench cleared down, lift cleared down. And using a variety of packers and planks and things, we've got that nice and level now, and onto the rollers. And she's well stable on the main stand, but also because I've brought the bike backwards off the rear of the lift, then I've just put a couple of extension planks at the front there, just to not with any great tension on there, but just to keep the front end upright and straight. But obviously what I'm going to do now is put probably 4 straps on this, 2 at the front and 2 at the back. And what I can do at the back here is go from probably the top of the shocks down to the frame. Sorry about the nudge. The frame underneath the lift, and we'll get a good tie down there, and I think that'll be more than secure for what we need to do for this bike to keep it on the rollers. Obviously it's a lot lighter and hopefully not so much compression as the A70 when we had that on the rollers, and that worked pretty much okay. So next thing, strap it down, take the plugs out, and then we'll do a quick test before we then go around the bike, make sure everything's secure, tyre pressure is correct, oils are replenished as required before we begin. So let's get set up for a quick test of the test. So what appears to be happening then is, firstly I tried it in neutral just to make sure that the tyre wasn't slipping on the rollers, and it's not. Put it into gear, and it's not turning the front of the engine, but it is turning, I think the clutch is slipping. Right everyone, I've done a few more checks around, and yeah, the clutch is definitely slipping, because I was able to turn the engine over by the kickstart before the test, but when I try and kick it over now, it's the clutch is slipping. So from the point of view of the oil circulation test of the test, that failed. However, it's highlighted one or two other issues that need to be addressed, and from that respect, it's been a success, because it's these sorts of teething problems that, one, we should expect, and two, we need to address sooner rather than later. So that probably sets us up nicely then for the focus of the next video. So for the purposes of this one, we'll end it there. But yeah, there's a bit more to do. But since getting out on the Rocket 3 and riding that recently, also doing a couple of test starts as well on the Lightning, which is the A70, which is now ready for some more road testing, then there's a bit of a motivation going, so we'll try and get some momentum going on this, and as soon as this video is published, we'll crack on with the Fury SS and get the primary cover removed. I mean, some people would say, well, leave the primary cover off for your oil circulation test, but on these bikes the primary cover isn't separate from the main crankcase, so its oil feed is from the main crankcase, so we'd probably make a right bloody mess if we left that cover off for the test. But anyway, let's take it off first and see what the state of the clutch is. We'll probably take off the gearbox cover, on the outer gearbox cover on this side as well, just to make sure there's nothing locked up on the box. As I'm sure some of you will have noticed, I was testing there between out of gear and neutral, but also first gear, and first gear obviously is going to put more load on the clutch, and I acknowledge that, but the trouble is I was trying to get, if possible, the engine to turn a little so I could change up through the gearbox, but I can't do that at the moment. So we might have a slight tightness in the gearbox as well, so we'll probably have this cover off too. Okay, I'll stop rambling on. I've set the scene for the next one, so let's get this one published, and then we can move on. So thanks very much for your interest, everybody. Thanks to existing and also new subscribers and recent comments as well. One thing I will mention is that there's a possibility through a kind offer that we might have the beginnings potentially of a collaboration and the next project. But anyway, let's see how that develops before I divulge any further details. But in the meantime, thanks again for comments, interest and subscriptions, and I'll see you all again soon. Thanks everybody. Cheers. Bye bye.